Intermittent fasting stands out among the most trendy weight loss methods. Are you still thinking about choosing some other diet instead of intermittent fasting? We compared intermittent fasting with 5 other most popular weight loss patterns, which will give you a clear understanding of why to choose intermittent fasting and not another diet. Number 1. Intermittent fasting versus low-fat diets. Alright, so fats are often considered as the pure evil of nutrition, something to be avoided at all costs, especially when you want to lose weight. By the term low-fat diet, we mean nutritional plans where fats must represent 30% or less of the total caloric intake. Research shows that low-fat diets have been recommended to the entire American population since 1977. What was the main reason? The answer is pretty simple: to reduce the dramatically growing number of obesity problems and cardiovascular diseases. Low-fat diets are effective, but only in the short term. Why? Because it is really difficult to apply in the long term, since low-fat diets don't solve the problem of how and when you eat, instead of what you eat. In comparison, intermittent fasting cycles between periods of fasting and eating. It doesn't specify which foods you should eat, but rather when you should eat them, which makes fasting more flexible and dynamic with your meal choices. Number 2. Intermittent fasting versus low-calorie diets. If you want to lose weight, the number of calories consumed must be lower than burned. This is the mathematical basis on which the whole low-calorie diet theory has been built. Alright, we agree that intermittent fasting can also be attributed to low-calorie diets, because it also focuses on a calorie deficit. But here is the main difference between fasting and low-calorie diets. By choosing intermittent fasting, you get all calories during a limited period of time. For example, during the 8-hour fasting window. In low-calorie diets, you have to constantly control the status of your calorie intake, which may be exhausting. Also, reducing calories too quickly or too radically in low-calorie diets can lead to fatigue, irritability, headache, low-quality sleep, and strong hunger pains. This is why the flexibility and adaptability of intermittent fasting give you fewer struggles and inconveniences, since you can schedule your fasting time. For example, you can eat between noon and 8 p.m., which means you'll only need to fast overnight and skip breakfast. It's super beneficial to stick with this form over the long term, because without counting every single calorie, you're still losing weight. Number 3. Intermittent fasting versus the Dukan diet. Okay, so the Dukan diet is a nutritional approach when you have to cut carbs and fats to a minimum, concentrating your calorie intake on protein consumption. The Dukan diet has 4 phases, and the duration of each depends on how much weight you need to lose. If you've been thinking about trying the Dukan diet, keep in mind that it has some cons that were based on scientific research. First of all, some researchers say that a very high protein intake leads to kidney problems and bone weakness. Secondly, low-carb diets can cause tiredness and fluctuating moods. And well, the Dukan diet can get pretty expensive, since protein-rich foods tend to be more pricey than carbs, fruit, and vegetables. So, the advantage of intermittent fasting over the Dukan diet is that once implemented, it is easier to maintain because you can choose among various food options that are essential for your wellness and effective weight loss. Number 4. Intermittent fasting versus the Paleo diet. The Paleo diet is designed to resemble what human hunter-gatherer ancestors ate thousands of years ago. Research shows that by following a whole food-based diet and leading physically active lives, hunter-gatherers presumably had much lower rates of lifestyle diseases, such as obesity, diabetes, and heart disease. Sounds pretty impressive, right? The main conception of the Paleo diet is to eat whole foods and avoid processed foods. We're not gonna lie, by minimizing the intake of refined sugars, you can significantly lose some weight. But, well, the Paleo diet can be risky, since you're eliminating entire food groups that have essential nutrients and vitamins. It puts most at risk for deficiencies in calcium and vitamin D. And well, during intermittent fasting, you don't concentrate on particular food group restrictions, which means you get all your nutrients and vitamins during your eating window. Number 5. Intermittent fasting versus the Mediterranean diet. The Mediterranean diet focuses on variety, quality, and a correct balance between macronutrients. On the Mediterranean diet, you eat a lot of vegetables, fish, and olive oil. Again, it is important to pay attention to ingredients in order to achieve desired results. However, there may be a few drawbacks to the Mediterranean diet. Some people express concern about the cost of some foods that are necessary for this diet, including fish, seeds, nuts, and olive oil. For example, fresh seafood tends to be more expensive than other proteins. Also, the Mediterranean diet doesn't have any calorie guidelines, making it possible for those on it to overeat. But remember, when it's applied correctly, with a careful eye on calorie intake, it can have significant benefits along with intermittent fasting. It's totally up to you which method to choose for successful weight loss and health improvements. Just make sure you consult with your doctor before diving into the sea of diets. If you think that intermittent fasting is the best option for you, check out the next video, A Beginner's Guide to Intermittent Fasting. And if you want to get more know-how about fasting, watch the video 2 Meals a Day Diet, A Beginner's Guide to Intermittent Fasting. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to Health Insider. We have more informative videos ready for you.